time sped up to make it look like it is moving. So with that understanding, yes, it is possible to jump into different time stills like a DVD. We can jump to any part of the DVD, the beginning, middle, end, and even behind the scenes. When we watch the movie, we can identify with certain characters, so much so we can lose ourselves to the character for a time. It can almost seem like we are them, experiencing what they are experiencing. Now, as each person watches this movie, they see it differently, or we can say it is a different parallel of them from another dimension. Even in additions, for example, you watch people given the same script, the same character, and each person seeing and interpreting this character very different than the next. What I am trying to say here is that with past lives, it is a very basic stepping stone and understanding to grasp something much more complex, in that it is not just thousands of lifetimes, but we are everyone and everything. I am you and you are me. We are the animals and plants as well. We can even be a fridge. I bring that up because I have a memory of being a fridge in the 70s. Needless to say, it was pretty boring, buzzy existence, but it did teach me to keep my cool, especially when everyone else's temperatures were rising. When I get letters from people, they often share how similar our lives are. They will say, "I cannot believe how similar our stories are. The experiences you have had, I have also had. It seems like I know you somehow, or that we are just parallels of each other." This also ties into an understanding of oneness, of recognizing ourselves in each other. I am them and they are me. It is like that quote from the silver bird I read on YouTube. I once dreamed I was a butterfly. To all intents and purposes, I was a butterfly, and was unconscious of my individuality as a man. Now as I lay awake in my bed, I do not know if I was a man dreaming I was a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming I was a man. This quote struck me to the core, because I know that in the sleep, daydream, and even meditation states, time is very different. We can easily tap into our consciousness in other forms and in different times and space, but I wonder if the butterfly pays attention to such things. And there are accounts of people being aware that their soul has more than one body. I wonder if the butterfly pays attention to such things. Is a butterfly aware of being us as well? There are accounts of people being aware that their soul has more than one body, that they are occupying Earth at this time. They can have a memory of being another living person in this lifetime. It is like a flash, and then they go back to being themselves. Now this is one way to explain it, but some could say, "Oh, these are just mind control split personalities." To counter that thought, I will state that these people are also able to contact and locate these people whose consciousness they had tapped into. Like looking out of one telescope and then another. Was this something of a glitch in the Matrix hologram that we were able to catch and then keep some memory of it? This is a little step towards being ready for grasping multidimensional existence. Now, the more we go through the shift, the more I feel we will recall such things, but our concept of time will start to all just blur and fuse together. This will happen until we cannot recall which experience we had first and where one starts and the other ends, but we will be able to keep track of them at the same time as we are activating more and more consciousness RAM. What about lives in between lives? The lives I spoke about in Project Camelot interview were not actual lives that I recall living in the physical. I do not remember being in a body, but in another dimension as a being watching and guide to other human beings. I was experiencing life through them and can now recall the life of the watcher, knowing both sides, which is pretty neat. I am sure it helps me to see with boggle eyes. Some souls who come to Earth are not used to being in a physical 3D form. which is with its extreme duality. They have a very hard time being on this planet, and we find that these souls go into shock. So most are brought to the mountains where the energy is not so intense, but it still gives them a better idea of what they will be in for. It is like testing the water by dipping your toe before immersing your whole self. This might explain why ancient documents told of the gods and even ETs favoring living on mountains. It helps them get used to the frequencies here. After that, they try out being a guide or watcher, very much like the movie Avatar, where they experience life as a Navi, what it means to be in that form in their world, and learning their customs. Even when they sleep and wake up back in their other form, they can report all the things they learned in that life, that form, that world. The reptilians do this as well, in order for them to be in human form, or they will use hologram sight manipulation. People who have had a UFO sighting do not know that a majority of the time that they have been on the ship. Everyone on Earth who has had contact with ETs. Everyone on Earth has had contact with ETs and just cannot remember. These memories either come about later on, or people find this out through hypnotherapists. I recommend you just sitting back and remembering the experience on your own, though. The memories will come back if you let them and really want to recall them. Often, a couple will see a craft and then a light in the sky. Then they awaken and wonder what happened. Shortly after, the woman finds she is pregnant, and surprise, surprise, it's a star child. This act is not done through force or cold lab tables or humiliation or anything like that. The Illuminati have a crude, knockoff, twisted version of this done to confuse and demonize real experiences. The real star children can attest to this, as some of them have very developed astral travel abilities. They can travel to their secret bases like Area 51 and so forth, and they go there to usurp the Illuminati's plans. They can read documents and let other people know on the other side of the world, or inspire people to leave certain areas. They are one of the reasons that programs and chips the Illuminati give people are not working. These kids will also take jobs in the military and hide their abilities on the tests and use their telepathy to get information on certain officials. It is like a game of psychic chess. The Star Kids are winning, and the Illuminati knows it. They know the kids are their downfall, and so they take it out on them while they can, all the while hoping to find a loophole. They know that fear is their ace card, because if people are in fear, then they can be controlled. People who have mastered their fear cannot be controlled. I am not referring to military people who have been messed with so badly that they have no emotion. They have plenty of fear. They just blocked it out in order to cope and do their job. Tesla once said, "They can have the past, they can have the present, but the future is mine." What does this mean? First off, this man was able to get information from the future. He was something of a psychic time traveler with some serious connections to other worlds. He knew the corruption he was dealing with, and so he knew that in the future this Illuminati would have no merit. Getting back to the beam ships, the person's soul recognizes the ship, even if the person's personality does not, and they go onto the ship as a guest, friend, or even a commander. There is no force of invasion or privacy. There is a part on the ship where there is a nursery with babies of women who were pregnant but sometimes ended up having miscarriages, or so it would seem. This is not done by Star Family as cruelty by any means, just that the womb has set up with a special connection. It has a portal in it. The human baby chooses to stay on the ship and work with people, particularly with the star baby that is now in the womb. These two babies are like siblings, and they help each other maintain memory and access their abilities.